All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're live. Pretty sure we are live. Let's go ahead and get everything started. Let people file in. Let people file in. Get everything ready to roll. Impromptu live session. All right, let's do all this. Get everyone filed in. We do all this jazz. Get all this knocked out. And we'll start the party. And we will start the party. All right. Let's see. There he is. PBS, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? Don't you have some officers to install? My boy, Richard. Love you, James. Who dat? Appreciate that, man. Who dat indeed. The Motherland hat. That's right, dude. This is from the Motherland, brother. This is on the plane, son. It's not very comfortable. What can you do? Richard, how are you doing, man? I appreciate the kind words. All right, let me get all this. Let me get the tweet going. Let everybody know we are live, impromptu. We got like 10 viewer voice messages we've got to rock and roll with. We've got multiple videos to review. Hope your day has been good today. James, thank you, Anthony. Pulling out the bow now. There you go, brother. I saw that. Hey, I saw the regular season win total. What are we talking? Two double dimes? Is that what we're saying? What are we even talking about? $20? $20 on the season win total? Anthony, I hope your day has been good too, my friend. All right, let's tweet this. Boom, live reaction videos, your viewer voice messages. All right. We're in. Ladies and gentlemen, while we wait, I think we're now officially live. All right. While we wait, I gotta thank everybody. Look at this. Look at the power of the superstar. You don't know ball. They featured every content creator from every single team. Look at it. Bucks, 97 views. Falcons, 98 views. Raiders, 288. Cardinals, 70. Colts, 48. Jags, 44. Texans, 35. 27, 32, 1, 12 a day ago. Jets, get lost. And then, boom, 1,000 views. Are you kidding me right now? Ladies and gentlemen? Unfreaking believable. Thank you all very much for the support. If you went and watched the video, shared it, and whatnot. I know the fellas that you don't know ball. They learned a valuable lesson. They learned a valuable lesson on who to call. They want the numbers. they want the community. God bless. Give me some face paint, rip the sleeves off. Unbelievable. James getting the who dat bump. Will. That's right. Christian, how's it going? Joshua taking over sports, taking over YouTube, taking over media just in general. It's because you speak facts and actually don't beat around the bush. Pause. Yes, that is true. We are speaking facts here. A couple of weeks off. July 4th. Messed up the live stream last week. It is what it is. But we're back. All All right, tonight we're going to go from 6 to 8 per usual, our usual schedule. And we'll be doing the same thing next week, I believe. The week after that, I think I'll actually be in Salt Lake City. So the last week of July will probably not happen. But anyways, thank you very much, guys, for this. I do appreciate it. If you haven't watched the interview, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun with these cats. We're not gonna obviously watch this video, but just want to show you all the setup. James is the GOAT. Ellis, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But really, y'all are the GOAT. Y'all are the GOAT. But it was a lot of fun. So anyways, like these two cats right here, Hunter and Dobbs, that is who runs the channel on You Don't Know Ball. And they reached out and said, hey, look, we want to see if you'll do this. Well, the ads, damn it, make your money, guys. Hey, respect. Make your money. God, dog. Respect. But I didn't know what to expect. You know, I said, hey, we'll light it up. You know, we'll lock and load. That is the benefit of how we do this, with no notes, no editing, no anything like that. We're prepared for something like this. You know, we're prepared. We really just do this in every video, right? Every video is kind of like an interview. It's a simulated interview with the reactions and whatnot. So I didn't know what questions they were going to ask. I didn't know what was going on. I was probably at this point 6, 7, 8 cups of coffee deep. I was ready to roll. I was seeing things clear. And we chopped it up, man. And they said they wanted to go 20 minutes. I said, how about 55? They said, well, 15 to 20 minutes will be good if you can, you know, if you can squeeze us in. We'll lock in, because we're going an hour. Iron Man match. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 2 from the Pond in Anaheim. So again, if you haven't watched that, go watch it, because it was fun. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're gonna start with a comment. Now, a lot of time, whenever I am in the comment section, sometimes I get into a conversation that requires more than just tip-tap-toeing on the typewriter, right? Sometimes it requires a little more. This is one of those times where I want to really flesh out what I was saying. So this video was yesterday's video, actually, with the Hunt Palmer show. A little late, but here nonetheless. What's up, J Cool Guy 15? You're never late. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. You're never late. You're never early. You're just on time. But yesterday's video was the Hunt Palmer show. Hunt was, I'm not sure what the hell he was talking about, to be honest, but he was talking about that the Saints shouldn't aspire to win the NFC South. They should aspire to be the best team in the NFL, which I absolutely, destroyed for 23 minutes and 35 seconds. But this young man came into the comment section. Now, I love the comments. I love interacting with everyone. I love the engagement. And what is great about the comment section, especially my comment section, is that it pushes the conversation. A lot of great conversations happen down there. So I want to talk about this one. Chase, how's it going, man? So Yannick Mack says he's got a point. Hunt Palmer. First time Hunt's probably heard that. He's got a point. He's talking about aspirations, not realistic expectations. When this team is covered, everyone talks about and references how this team is built to win the NFC South. No one, and I mean no one, good use of commas there, ever talks about how we're building this team to one day be a contender in the NFL. The front office is content with the wide receiver room. The front office is content with the running back room. The front office is content with the safety room. It would be different if we addressed those areas and we were still average, but we've neglected them again this offseason. When the opportunity was there to address them, we chose not to. I'm not personally optimistic about this idling team. Then I say having a Super Bowl aspiration is baked in. Every team has that aspiration. All right. WrestleMania 12, what did I say? What did I say? 10? What did I say? 12? What WrestleMania did I say? Trust me, I know when the Iron Man match was. What the hell did I say? It's been a long day, ladies and gentlemen. So then, I could rattle off every main event. 2? I said WrestleMania 2? No way. You had to have a glitch. No way. Brother, you had to have it. Fix your audio. You had to have some kind of a glitch. Call Asmongold. Twitch might be down. WrestleMania 2? You said 2? I said 2? Jesus, I might need to go to sleep. If I said WrestleMania 2, no, WrestleMania 2 is the multi-location main event. Yeah, King Kong Bundy and Hulk Hogan. Everyone, like I'm listen. If I said WrestleMania 2, I gotta take a long look in the mirror. I may have dementia. But anyways, I said having a Super Bowl aspiration is baked in. Every team has that aspiration, which is true. Okay, every team does have the Super Bowl aspiration, but saying you're aspiring to win the Super Bowl, that's one of those things where it's like saying I'm baking these cookies for them to be good. We know that. We know you're baking them to be good, right? So then this hombre says, when the season, so I explained the entire thing. He said that the wide receiver room, that we're content with the wide receiver room. Now, this is the big part of this argument, or the big part of what I want to talk about. I want you to really look at the Saints in the last 5 years and pretend you are Mickey Loomis. Okay, my guy, Mickey Loomis, one of my best friends in the entire world. Pretend you are him, and I want in the comments, in the chat, I want you to tell me what you would do if you're Mickey Loomis in this situation. Okay? 5 years ago, Michael Thomas was our number one wide receiver. He was the offensive player of the year. Okay? Let me do a quick Google here. Let me do a quick Google so I don't mess this up. All right, because I don't want to mess this up. I certainly don't even see my Google history. God. So let me pull this up real quick. Let's see here. I cannot believe I said WrestleMania 2. I mean, what the hell? The subliminally. I mean, I think asleep. I can name every main event. I can name every main event for the first 20 WrestleManias. God. I gotta get warm. All right, I got it pulled up. Okay. Thanos, what's happening? All right, so pretend you're in 2019. You have Michael Thomas, and you're Mickey Loomis. Okay, you draft Michael Thomas. He, at this point now, is 26 years old, as y'all can see. He has 1,700 yards. He's the offensive player of the year in the NFL. You also have Drew Brees. Okay, now Drew Brees is getting banged up. Everything is, it is what it is. Okay? Would you consider that you would be content with the wide receiver room? Yes, you would be content with that wide receiver room. What about the next year? Going into 2020, you're obviously content with Michael Thomas. He just won Offensive Player of the Year. Okay? He gets hurt. He only plays in 5 games. All right? Gets hurt. So then, pull up one more. Now you still have Drew Brees. Factor that in as well. You still have Drew Brees. All right? Every main event and all 151? Yeah, easy. I can do it right now. So you have Thomas and you have Brees. Okay? You'd be cool with this wide receiver room situation. 100%. All right, so now Thomas misses the season. Now, at this point, if you're Mickey Loomis, you're getting concerned about the wide receiver room, correct? So what do? With the 11th pick, you go draft Chris Olave. All right? So you're not being content. You're not hanging out. You're not just kicking your feet up and saying, we're good. We don't need to do anything. 11th overall, you go draft a wide receiver. 2 years after your top guy wins Offensive Player of the Year. All right? Do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget what's happening in the front office. Do not forget what's happening with the team. And then in 2021, we had guys like Marquez Callaway, Deontay Harry, and Kevin White. True. And what did we do? We drafted Chris Olave, right? We addressed the need. Just because the results aren't there, a Super Bowl or what have you, do not look at this and think like everything can change like that. Don't think that just because we upgraded Talise Fuaga on the offensive line, but that's it. Don't think that the front office doesn't understand that it needs to be fixed. That's what blew my mind with this. As this guy then says, when this season starts, we don't turn up to the party with New Orleans Saints wide receiver room from 2018 to 2024. The past 5 years only have Chris Olave to show for it. Everything else is in the past. I'm talking about what that room looks like right now. It's not a great room. We just got out of Michael Thomas's contract. Michael Thomas was just off the team. Chris Olave was drafted in 2022 with the 11th overall pick. Like, this is the problem with looking so long term. And that's what I was saying in the video, in the Hunt video, is that if you look at the finish line and you only focus on the finish line, you only focus on the Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl, and that's it, and nothing else matters, and everything else is in the past, and you just want to get there, you will lose what is great about sports. And what's great about sports is that journey. That journey. You know, drafting a wide receiver or signing a wide receiver, then being good, then being better the next year, and then getting another player, and then another, and then filling out the team, and then all of a sudden, boom. Right? All of a sudden, boom. What happened to the bad talk about Mickey being a bad GM during the season? Thoughts on Mickey? I like Mickey. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like Mickey gets a bad rap. Mickey has kept this team relevant, really good for 15 years. 15 years. Say what you want. Say he got lucky getting Sean Payton. He got lucky getting Drew Brees. He got him, right? He got him. We lose Sean Payton. We lose Drew Brees. We take a step backwards. We get to 7. We win 7 games. Boom, we're right back, 9-8. Okay? So go ask the Patriots. Go ask the Giants. Go ask teams like that how it feels to rebuild. All right? So then, this hombre right here. Okay, so the front office has to stop with just being content with where we are, and they actually have to exhaust all options to try and build this team into the best possible football club it can be. I've said this a million times, ladies and gentlemen. I've said this a million times. We are 5 years from being one of the top 5 best teams in the NFL. We lose best coach in the franchise history, best quarterback in the franchise history. It takes time. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to win the Super Bowl this year? No, we're not. We're not going to win the Super Bowl unless, lightning in a bottle, miracles happen. It is what it is. But that doesn't mean that a 10-win NFC South title, host a playoff game, whatever happens, happens. That doesn't mean we shouldn't celebrate that. Don't get lost in the long term. I remember Moscona flaming Mickey. Yeah, he's trying to get his views up. We just let go of Michael Thomas, and he is still that guy. Unfortunately, his body is just failing him. Yeah, it happens. It is what it is. It happens. You sign a guy to a $100 million contract. You sign an offensive player of the year to a $100 million contract. You're going to give him every chance. You're going to give him every chance. But at some point, the body fails him. Kermit, what's happening, man? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into your viewer voice messages, one of my favorite parts of the week. And we've got a lot. We have a lot of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think these are from this week. Let me see real quick. I'll remember. Let's start with William and see how this goes.
Hey, buddy, it's Will. Just wanted to say, love your stuff. I'm a convert for forever, and I'm doing this as you're doing the live. All right, brother.
Unbelievable. I'm feeling good. Damn, it's going to be hard to beat that. It's going to be hard to beat that. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be hard to beat that. Damn. Let's listen to it again, shall we?
Hey, buddy, it's Will. Just wanted to say, love your stuff. I'm a convert for forever, and I'm doing this as you're doing the live. All right, brother.
Unbelievable. I appreciate that, my man. All right, next up, Max. 37 seconds. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, speakpipe.com. If you do want to send a voice message, it's the place to do it. I put the link in every description of every video. Max.
Hey, James. I just wanted to ask how you think we line up with the new kickoff changes. Do you think something we would pan to is trying to develop someone like the Chiefs have Justin Reed, for example, having a safety that can kick? Obviously, he's more proven in terms of that, so it wasn't starting over, but do you think that's something we would possibly dive into with any of our players, as well as our returners having someone like Shaheed and Taysom as 2 guys that we could possibly use, as well as some other guys? I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
So I think we'll see a lot of change with the kickoff rule as far as like how teams attack it, how teams prepare for it, how teams utilize it. We're going to see a lot of experimentation early on. It's one of those things where in practice and when you just talk about it or hear about it or think about it, all of a sudden people are like, well, Justin Fields may be able to return kicks, or maybe we'll have a linebacker kicking off kicks. And, like it can sound crazy until you see it, until you see how teams implement it. It's hard to say, honestly is. We'll know quickly, though. Like, we'll know quickly if it's going to be a real game changer first couple of weeks. If we start seeing people out of position, if Justin Fields is returning kicks, then we'll know, okay, something's up. But I'm not putting a lot of stock into it currently as far as, like, being a tried and true game-changing situation or it's going to really affect the analytics or the viewer experience or any of that. But the kicker position is quickly changing, possibly. I'm honestly not a huge fan of kicking being, I don't want to say in the game, but I do think it is brutal for a game to come down to a field goal or come down to a missed extra point or come down to any of that. I'm not a fan. I mean, I know it's part of the game, but not a fan at all. All right. But good. I mean, great question because it's something we're going to have to monitor. I mean, I will be monitoring it heavily first couple of weeks, preseason, everything, just seeing, okay, what exactly is going on here. I can go ahead and tell you this. The Baltimore Ravens will be really, really good at whatever it is because their special teams are always seemingly a step ahead of everyone else when it comes to that stuff. Anonymous, 35 seconds. Is it a person? Is it the lizard group? Who knows?
Hey, James, what's going on? This is Rose City D. You do an awesome job, man. I love the way you break down Saints commentary. But I had a question for you or a suggestion. If you check out Mina Kimes and Ryan Clark, they do their rankings from 1 to 32. They have the Saints ranked at 27. They have the Raiders higher than them, so on and so forth. But I think that's something that you might can do a show about. Yes, Mina Kimes show and her and Ryan Clark. Who that to you? Have a good day.
Who dat? Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I like Mina Kimes a lot. I like Mina. I like how she breaks down games. She comes from more of a, I don't want to say analytical. Analytical is a bit of a buzzword, but she comes from that line of watching the games. I think she's trying to really break down what's happening on the field. She's trying to really break down into the next level of, okay, who actually is, playing at a above average level, who actually is good on the field. It's not just names. And she is good, especially in that like mass sports media where it's a lot of buzzwords, it's a lot of familiar names, it's a lot of Lamar Jackson is good because he's Lamar Jackson. Like we know that. I need to know more. I need to keep going. Mina does keep going, so I do like her show, and I will check that out. If they ranked us 27, that is crazy low. I think the lowest you could probably rank the Saints is about 20. I think I could hear an argument for 20. I believe I had them at 17 or 16 when we were talking about this in a couple of videos ago. So I'd say somewhere in there. Preseason, obviously. Like if you like right now, if you're just coming at this unbiased, I would say anywhere between 16 and 20. I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, we're in the same ballpark as some other teams like Seattle or Indianapolis or Jacksonville, even Atlanta. Like they all kind of deserve to be right there. 27 is nuts, especially if we're behind like Vegas and behind Denver or New England or the Giants or teams like that. Like, those are really bad teams. 27 is just silly. Slow Kid 19, how's it going? Joshua, 27 is just silly. It is. It absolutely is. This is the best team we've had since Breeze retired. The fact that people think we suck and have gotten worse isn't true. We've slowly gotten better. It probably is. Yeah, I mean, I think it is the best team since Breeze retired. Like top to bottom, coaching staff factored in, all of that. So many people just shove the Saints off. Crazy how mindsets change so fast. I think the deal is like Dennis Allen is as far as like the media, he's a losing head coach, which he is. Derek Carr is a losing-ish, irrelevant, veteran quarterback. He's an unsexy, like he's not driving the narrative. So I think when you have that combined, I think it's easy to write us off if you don't watch the games and don't understand what's happening. So, all right, Artem Maximov, one of my favorite names of all time. Last time he sent a message in, it was about analytics, and it was an incredible conversation starter. So he's about to give us 52 seconds of brilliance.
Hey, James. Thank you for answering my first question. Got to see that on the stream. That was very cool. I have another question. After watching a lot of recent videos, I mean, everyone's saying the NFC South is really, really bad, which, I don't completely disagree. There's not exactly a, franchise quarterback there last year. But, we all know the Saints didn't make the playoffs on a tiebreaker purely. And, the Atlanta Falcons lost by 2 points to the Cardinals and lost to the Panthers, down the stretch. With those 2 wins, they're also a 9-win team and could have made the playoffs depending on tiebreakers. So I'm looking at this and saying we had 3 teams that were very close to making the playoffs in the NFC. I agree, our division's clearly not the best, but it's clearly not like, way, way, way worse than every other division. And I'm kind of wondering why if the perception of that is purely because of the quarterback perception, or you really do think that our division is significantly worse than everyone else. Thank you.
I think it's a combo. So I think it's a combo of the quarterback play and the division probably being the worst division. If you look at the Panthers, they are really dragging down the division. They are really bad. The Panthers are one of the worst teams in the NFL. So if you go look at the other worst teams in the NFL, the Broncos, the Giants, the Patriots, you look at the top of their division, it's like the opposite's happening, right? Like the AFC West is being brought down by the Broncos, but it's being greatly pushed up by the Chiefs. If you take the Chiefs out and replace the Chiefs with the Falcons, the AFC West is probably the worst division in football. Go to the AFC East where the Patriots are. The Patriots are dragging down the AFC East, but you have the Bills and the Jets and the Dolphins dragging them up, right? The Giants and Commanders dragging down the NFC East. You have the Cowboys and the Eagles dragging them up. All right, those are all, besides the Cowboys, those are all like legitimate NFC title threatening teams. They're all legitimate like Super Bowl contenders for the most part. The NFC South's top end isn't very high. The NFC South's top end is 3 average to above average teams. So if you believe the Saints are the best team in the NFC South, let's just say they are for the sake of the conversation. The top end is probably like a 10-win, maybe one and done in the playoffs type situation like Tampa Bay last year. If that's your top end and the bottom end is the Panthers, the worst team in football, that's why the division is looked at as being so bad. So I do agree, top to bottom, it probably is the worst division of football. The AFC South, the Texans are helping them out, but the AFC South is kind of in the same boat where it's a bunch of average teams and then a bad team, depending on how you think about Tennessee. But a lot of people in the Texans can compete in the AFC, make it to an AFC title game. I don't think anyone truly believes the Bucs, the Saints, or the Falcons are a legitimate Super Bowl threat. Like a legitimate threat to win the South. The Bucs won a playoff game last season? Yeah, they did. But that's what I'm saying, like one and done. Just kind of like, even though the Bucs won a playoff game, no one thought they were really going to challenge for the Super Bowl. So whether it's the Bucs or the Falcons or the Saints, whoever's coming out of the NFC or NFC South, it's just kind of whatever. So that's why I think they're considered the worst division. Quarterback play does have something to do with that, and it's all kind of the same quarterback. It's very unsexy quarterbacks. Like, what's the top end of the quarterbacks? What's the top end of the quarterback is like the 9th best quarterback in the NFL, the 8th best quarterback in the NFL, somewhere in there. You look at those other divisions, at the top end of Jalen Hurts is an MVP. The top end of Patrick Mahomes is an MVP. The top end of all these players is much higher. So that also adds into it for sure. They look at quarterbacks and there's no franchise flashy quarterbacks. Yeah, 100%. The division is bad, but it's still competitive. It's competitive, and it's not bad. That's something else. The NFC South isn't bad. It's just the weakest as far as like the top end of what it can do. Being 9-8, 10-7, and 8-9, that's not bad. Like the Panthers are bad, but you don't want to play the Falcons. You don't want to play the Saints. You don't want to play the Bucs. So, I would much rather, if you throw the Panthers out and you throw the Chiefs out, the AFC West, and you have the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers, or the Falcons, Bucs, and Saints, I think the Falcons, Bucs, and Saints are a tougher division than Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers. But we're losing our bottom end, and they're losing their top end. See, so like the chunk in the middle there, the NFC South probably is harder. It probably is better, but you got to have that top end. Good question. Dante, 43 seconds. Back in 2017, 2020, we were in the position the Chiefs are in now. We were the best team in the division, and everyone else sucked. Yeah, it happens. I mean, it happens. You know, like it happens all the time. Divisions get propped up by certain teams, and it, you know, it takes a while for certain teams to catch up, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes, like the Patriots, just roll the division for 15 years. But you're never going to say the AFC East is the easiest division, even if the Dolphins, Jets, and Bills were terrible, which they were for a lot of those years, because you got the Patriots, right? So by default, it's a tough division just because you have them. So you gotta factor in the top end and all that stuff. Dante, 43 seconds.
Hey, what's up, big dog?
What's happening,
I was
brother?
wondering so far what you thought of the Pelicans offseason so far,
Pelicans
such
talk.
as the DeJounte Murray trade, the 2 first-round picks with Larry Nance Jr. and Dyson Daniels for DeJounte Murray, and what do you thought would be the ideal trade for Brandon Ingram if you still thought that we should trade him for a big man such as Jared Allen, or I've heard rumors of Wendell Carter Jr. And then what you thought of the of our draft picks so far, Yves Messi and the other guy, I can't think of him off the top of my head.
I love the Murray trade. Draft picks in the NBA, who cares? Larry Nance, Dyson Daniels, who cares? I don't think our current 5 fits. I don't think they are currently there. I don't think they're an actual 5. Like right now, our 5 is Murray. The 2 is CJ. The 3 is Brandon. The 4 is Herb. The 5 is Zion. That's not going to work, right? Everyone's playing out of position. Everyone's small. Everyone's under 6'8". So then it's like, okay, well, do you go Murray, CJ to the bench? Then you have Herb at the 3. Then you have Herb at the 2, Brandon at the 3. Then Zion at the 4. You have to go get a 5. Who the hell's the 5? Why would CJ come off the bench? Ingram's not going to come off the bench. So how do you factor in? Like right now, it doesn't work. So we need a 5. Markkanen, I think, would be perfect. We need a 5 that's going to run. Zion wants to run. We also need a 5 that's going to shoot. We can't have a 5 like Jonas who just sits in the paint because Zion's going to want to drive, right? Zion wants to drive. Murray wants to drive. So having a slow, plodding, old school 5 doesn't work. We need a 5 who can get up and down the court. We need a 5 who can get in the corner and shoot a 3 if Zion or whoever sends it out to him. So I think the Pelicans have a lot of work to do. As far as Ingram's value took a huge hit last year. I think at one point Ingram was looked at as like a number 1 on a team. Now he's looked at as like a 3 on a team. So, you know, his value is not that great, especially when you factor in the contract, like who's going to trade for him to get that contract. What we need right now is an athletic big who can shoot, and we need depth. We only have 8 players on the team. So we need someone that can come off the bench. We need someone that can come off the bench and score. We need someone who can come off the bench, and that's what happened last year. Last year is that we would get into the late game, and we would be pushing, and we'd be trying to win, trying to close the gap or extend the lead. Our second team would come in. All of a sudden, it's Najee Marshall, Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance, Herb Jones, and Jose Alvarado. Bad news, no one on the court can score. So great defense, but no one can score, and everyone in the NBA can score. Like defense can only be so good. So we just need scorers. We need guys who can create on their own. So, but I like bringing in Murray. It was time to do something. It was time to do something for sure. So, but yeah, Pels got to do something quick. I want to see who the 5 is going to be. Divine Eternity. Did I miss my voice message? Thought no. We're about to do it right now, brother. Perfect timing. Thoughts on the Pels draft picks? I don't know anything about them. Yeah, I don't know much about them, to be honest. I don't know much. I know Missy apparently is pretty raw but pretty talented. But yeah, I mean, NBA draft picks are so hard because they're either a superstar off the bat or they need some serious development. All right, here we go. Divine Eternity. 26 seconds. Here you go.
Hey, James, I've been wanting to get your perspective on something. If the 2024 New Orleans Saints don't win a division this year, but they still make the playoffs with a wild card, is that still considered a successful season? Because I think it is, but with this sour fan base, I'm not so sure if that would be enough for them. And there's been a lot of criticism that we just haven't been in the playoffs for the last 3 years. So that's my question.
So if we do not win the division, but we still make the playoffs in the wild card, yeah, I would say that was successful. Because if we don't win the division but make the playoffs in the wild card, more than likely that means the Falcons or the Bucks have won like 11 games, and we've probably won 10 games or 9 games at the absolute least. And if that gets us into the wild cards, and the league is probably pretty competitive, so we probably beat some decent teams at that time. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I mean, I would think that should be successful. Like, what fan base, like what team? There's probably 5 or 6 teams in the NFL that if you told them you are going to make the playoffs in the wild card this season, there's only like 5 or 6 teams that would be like, that's a total disaster. Like the Chiefs would say it's a disaster. But like I'll ask you this, chat. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, and you can press a button and you can say you'll make the playoffs in the wild card, do you think the Bengals would say that's an unsuccessful season? Because if you're the Bengals, who the hell knows? The Ravens could win 14 games. Like, the wild card might mean 13 wins. The wild card might be 12-5. You know, it might be 12-5 wild card while the Ravens are the 1 seed. You know, so I think making the playoffs is the goal. You know, like winning the division, making the playoffs, and that's really about it. You know, like that's really it. Like, that's the main things. If you can't win your division, you want to be in the wild card. You know, so like the only team I can really think of, it's the same like the Eagles and the Cowboys. If you're the Eagles and the Cowboys, and you're like, hey, you want to, like, to them, making the playoffs in the wild card is no big deal. Like, yeah, you want to win the division, but just because it's a wild card doesn't make it any less successful. The Chiefs are probably the only team. Where it's like, how the hell did we not win our division? Like, the Chiefs are the only team that I can think of right now that not winning the division would be like a huge step back, because their division is pretty weak and they always win the division. But for the Saints, who haven't been in the playoffs since Breeze, who's bringing in a whole new coaching staff, you know, Derek Carr making the playoffs, like all of that, that absolutely should be a successful season. 100%. Now, if something like let's change it a little bit. Let's say the Saints win the division, but they go 7-10, and 7-10 wins you the division. Is that a successful season? Now, I can understand where you'd say no, because it's like, yeah, we made the playoffs, yeah, we won the division, but we're 7-10. You know, like, I don't know. So I can understand that. What do y'all think, chat? What do y'all think about that one? If we win the division, but the winning record is 7-10, what do you think? What would you consider that season? Let's see. I'm catching up in chat while y'all give me some answers. Let's go. Finally making it live since the first one. There we go. Oh, Garthquake's in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Garthquake's back. Plus, if you're the Bengals and make it in the wild card, you still have Joe Burrow. Yeah, exactly. Like, get in the playoffs. Get in. Anytime you make the playoffs, it's success. Then if offense, yeah, 100%. Well, 100%. We just need to make the playoffs first, simple, and then we can talk about the Super Bowl. Yeah, just make the playoffs. Make the playoffs. Take it one game at a time. First live. There you go, Kevin. Welcome, Kevin. Welcome. Very nice. The Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl with a 7-win season. Is that true? I know they made the playoffs. I don't think they won the Super Bowl. Did they? I know they made the play. That's when they beat us. That's when they beat us with the boomquake or whatever. But they didn't win. They didn't win the Super Bowl, did they? 9-8 wild card is better than 7-10 division champions. I agree. I would agree with that. Commanders won 2020 with 7-10. Yeah, it happens all the time, actually. Chase Young, rookie year. Everyone's 0-0 in the playoffs, so anything can happen. True. That part's true. Yeah, I mean, I can see it both ways. Like, but that's kind of what I talk about all the time with results, where let's say you're 7-10 and you win the division. Good, we're in the playoffs. We win a division, happy. But then you have to take a real hard look at your scheme and your system. You have to take a real hard look at, like, what's happening on the team. You have to take a real hard look at what's happening, like, on the field and your offense and your defense. Like, okay, how did we lose 10 games? What's not working? Something's not working. So what's not working, right? So that's one of those things where, like, you have a combination of results good or results bad. I guess like the big grand scheme of things, results would be good, but the actual, like, minutia, word of the day, would be bad. So you'd be at war there. That would be scary because everyone would think, well, what the hell did hiring Clint do? Yeah, exactly, Ryan. Like, if we went 7-10, you look around, you're like, damn, we probably weren't much better than with Carmichael. Seahawks lost week after Beastquake. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I didn't think they won the whole thing. That would be crazy. That would be wild. That would be wild. That'd be crazy season right there. All right, let me go quick here. Saints 10 wins, Bucks 9 wins, Falcons 8 wins. That's kind of how I have it. What if the offense is the best ever and the defense flops with a winning season? That'd be interesting because we probably. I mean, if the defense is terrible, but we still have a winning season, you had to have some real questions with Allen, because at that point it's like, brother, what are you doing? You know, like, if the offense is sweet, you know Kubiak's taking care of it. So, what's Dennis Allen doing here? My mistake on the Seahawks. Oh, no problem, pal. Happens to the best of us. 7 wins is crazy. Yeah, it's insane. Saints Bengals Super Bowl. Don't remind me of Beastquake. Allen will get fired if that's the case. I don't know though. He might. I don't think he'd get fired if we had a good season. Like, if we won 10 games but the defense was terrible. I don't think he gets fired, but he has a serious talking to. Hey, James, can you share where you saw the statistic of us having the worst offensive play caller? Yeah. Let me do that real quick. Should be able to pull it up pretty fast. Let me pull that up, and then I'm going to use the bathroom, actually. And then we're going to get back to y'all's questions. Let's see here. So where I go to look at those stats, I always reference the stats. So I always reference these. Patton Analytics is who I reference, Stephen Patton. So he does all these analytics all throughout the season. Okay, so every week he would do these different things. So this one is yards left on the field by quarterbacks last year. All right, so it just shows you. So you have missed yards per attempt with no pressure, and then missed yards an attempt with pressure. Kirk Cousins was the worst, actually, in the NFL. So let me see if I can find the play caller one. This is draft stuff. This might be it. I don't know, this is the more draft stuff. But it's so cool to look at these analytics, and there's so many good follows out there. All right, this is defensive play caller. So this is the Allen one. Defensive play callers after week 18. So this is after the regular season. After the regular season, this ranked every defensive play caller. Number 1 is Dennis Allen. Number 10 is Raheem Morris. Okay? Raheem Morris is now supposed to fix everything in Atlanta. So, but yeah, Dennis Allen was number 1. So that's that one. Let me find the offensive one. Play caller ratings. This is compared to the easy button usage. So this includes RPOs, play action, motions, and screens. Obviously, Carmichael is really low because he doesn't do that, right? So he was really bad. But this isn't the chart you're talking about. All right, so this is ranking the play callers. Offensive. This is the offensive play callers. This is Carmichael is minus 0.43, which has him way down there. Carolina's minus 0.46. Arthur Smith's 0.62. That's not what you're looking for either. Here it is. Ranking offensive play callers after week 18. So at the end of the year, at some points, Carmichael was number 32. At the end of the year, Carmichael was 30. Okay? Ahead of Thomas Brown, who got fired, and Arthur Smith, who got fired. So that's what this is. All right, let me use the bathroom real quick, and then we're going to get right back to it. I'm going to catch up in chat, and then I am going to keep going with y'all's voice messages. And I will leave y'all while I'm using the bathroom here. I'm going to leave y'all with some of my You Don't Know Ball video, in case y'all haven't watched it yet. All right. 1 second here. And then I'll catch up and we'll keep it going. That actually wasn't a great memory for me because I grew up a Saints fan of it. So I was saying that I would rather have. So then you're firing Dennis Allen to go find a head coach that needs to be a defensive guy, but you can't get a defensive guy that's better than Dennis Allen. So it's a really like Sudoku puzzle situation.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, like that's why I was gonna comment. Like, I'm with you 100%, James. Like, my biggest problem, because I'll talk to my dad, who's also a Saints fan. Like, a lot of our discourse. My one fellow Saints fan in the area, because we're over here, we're in Illinois, so it's hard to find, the Who Dat Nation down here. Yeah. So, but the thing is, like, it's all to your point. Dennis Allen he's literally, because I know the exact same analyst you're talking about, where he is literally the defensive play caller of defensive play callers for what, on top of it, like, we don't have a ton of star talent on the defense. He's made it work very well. We've developed a lot of guys very well that we didn't expect to hit a ceiling as they've hit. And that's just, I'm right there with you, just to echo the same sentiment. Like, it's so tough because we want better results, but on the other hand, it's like, if we fire Dennis Allen, this defense, and as a Saints fan, we have not had a defense like Dennis Allen's defense. Oh man, it took a decade plus. If we gave Drew Brees, Dennis Allen's defense, we would be a multi-Super Bowl championship franchise. So it's a tough line to walk, and I'm very much with you 100%, where it's like, it's from the outside looking in, it's much easier. But if you're the Saints fan that's experienced all those years of horrendous, literally historically bad defenses, it's much harder to want a guy like Dennis Allen out the door, no matter what the results are looking like right now, because the roster situation is just so tricky.
I think Allen's a bad, and I don't want to get this misconstrued. I think Allen's a bad head coach. I think when it comes to kind of the same thing we see with like Mike McCarthy and some coaches like that, where I don't think Allen's great at time management, fourth downs. Should they go for on the 2-point conversions? Like managing the end of halves. I don't think he gets that, and not a lot of coaches do. But someone like Dan Campbell, he doesn't get it either. But he's got a lot of help. He's got analytic guys in the booth handling his situational game theory. He's got Ben Johnson. You have to have those guys now. If Clint Kubiak is the guy I think he is, then I have a sneaky feeling all those problems we've had are going to go away. Could be wrong, for sure. But Dennis looks like he's getting back to defense and focusing only on the defense. I wouldn't be surprised at all if everything is that the looks superstar? Better. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, I showed this earlier. Look at this. 1,100 views. 12, 1, 27, 32, 35, 49, 48, 70. We're on a whole different level, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get back to y'all's questions. Let me catch up in chat. Can't fire Allen because it's a good year, but he definitely will need a pep talk. Yeah, agreed. Pete was the tadpole trying to run with the bullfrog. The puppy trying to hang with the big dogs. Damn, that was poetry. Holy shit. God, dog. Damn, that was some straight up poetry. That just blew my mind. That's the realest thing I've ever heard. I come in and we have analytics on the board. Crafty, what's up, brother? What's happening, my boy? How are you doing, man? Remember, guys, we made in the first half alone, we made Josh Dobbs. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Saints for plus 11 turnovers. Do you see the dreaded turnover regression? I do not. I think turnovers are random. I am a staunch believer in turnovers are being random. Only reason Pistol Pete isn't the last is because our players are actually talented, not like Atlanta or Carolina. Pete also changed. I will say that. The offense actually did kind of change. Arthur Smith and Thomas Brown, who were below Pete on that list, they never changed. Pete did start implementing some play action and stuff like that. I think because of New Orleans football. Nick Underhill and the gang over there was absolutely crushing Carmichael about the play action, and all of a sudden, Carmichael started calling it. I think he felt the heat. We beat the Eagles without Jalen Hurts, but we know Jalen is good in the system. Yeah, true. Still have to watch that video, James, but don't worry, I will. I watch and like all your vids. I appreciate that, man. Giants won Super Bowl with 7 wins. When was that? Eli's teams didn't have 7 wins. All right, let's keep it going. Divine Eternity, good stuff. Corey, 27 seconds to the superstar.
Hey, James. I hope you're doing well.
Doing great.
As a huge fan of the Saints, I really appreciate all the insightful content you share about the team. I have a question I've been pondering and would love to get your thoughts on it.
I got the
answer,
answer,
How do you think the Saints' current roster depth compares to the 2009-2010 Super Bowl winning team? And what key areas do you think need to be addressed to reach that level of success again?
Well, the problem with the Saints is that the depth isn't great. Like, the wide receiver depth isn't great. The offensive line depth obviously isn't great. We have depth, quote unquote depth, at defensive line. We have quote unquote depth in the secondary, right? We have quote unquote depth at running back, but you wonder about the level of talent. Like, yeah, we have a bunch of people we can rotate on the defensive line, but how many are good? Yeah, we have multiple running backs who are good, but we need someone to be good. Like, we need someone to be, and this happens in every Super Bowl team. You need somebody, whoever it is, to be really, really, really good for a stretch of time. Whether it's Joe Flacco, whether it's Nick Foles, whether it's Terrell Davis, whether it's Plaxico Burress, whether it's Michael Strahan, whether it's a defensive player, whoever, whether it's Deion Branch or Malcolm Butler or Hines Ward, or the list goes on and on. With the Saints, who is that going to be? Right? So I'm not sure if it's a lack of depth with the Saints as much as a lack of top-end superstar. As far as, like, and I'm talking about comparing them to the Super Bowl team. With the Super Bowl team, it's very obvious, like, okay, who is going to be that person? Who is going to do that? You know, Drew Brees is the first one that comes to mind. You have a Hall of Fame MVP level quarterback. That is going to rise. That's going to lift everything else. You know, so what I would say as far as, like, comparing the two teams, if the Saints want to be in that situation, if the Saints want to be like, okay, who's going to step up? Where's the depth going to be? Who in the roster is going to do that? It's got to be the defense. We're going to have to see a resurgence from Cam Jordan. We're going to have to see Demario Davis play at the levels he's been playing at. We're going to have to see Chase Young get somewhere around double-digit sacks, maybe even more. We're going to have to see Marshawn Lattimore be the best cornerback in the NFL. If all of that happens, and you told me we have the number one defense in the NFL and we have an absolute just, you know, Legion of Boom level defense, all of a sudden it takes a lot of the pressure off of our depth at wide receiver. It takes a lot of the pressure off of our depth at offensive line. It takes a lot of the pressure off of our depth at running back. It takes a lot of the pressure off of our depth at tight end. Because if our defense is that good, and that's where the roster is pushing, then that's where the depth and that's where the roster, and that's where the talent's going to shine, comparing it to a Super Bowl winning team. So depth-wise, we got to get depth. As far as the future now, we have to get depth wide receiver. We have to get depth at offensive line. We have to get starters in offensive line first, but then depth. I would say tight end is probably, after this year, you probably need to find like an actual tight end, like a true threat. Besides that, that's where I would start. Running back, I believe in Kamara, and I think Kendra Miller is good. Wide receiver, like Olave, is good top end. Probably need to fill that out. But if we had a true 2 and Rasheed was our 3, A.T. Perry's our 4, all of a sudden it's like, could do worse there. Could do worse. So the Giants were 9-7. Yeah, I didn't think there were 7 wins. That'd be crazy. Just got done with a little workout. There you go, my man. Dude, I did a workout earlier today. When I just ran to the loo, my quads cramped so bad. I was doing Zercher squats. That's what my workout was today. I was doing heavy Zercher squats. And my quads are lit up. Okay, let's do 2 more, and then I'll catch up in chat here. Corey, 43 seconds.
All right. So let's say Carr goes out and has a really good season next year, and they make a really good playoff run.
Okay.
Not the NFC Championship.
Yeah, win 2 games. Win the wild card game, or win wild card weekend, win the division. Okay,
playoff run like that, but a really deep run.
Yeah.
And they're dominant through the season.
Okay.
Do you think it's worth them restructuring Derek Carr's contract and keeping him and possibly giving him another contract extension and letting Spencer Rattler sit behind him and learn? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we are dominant, and this is kind of where I've said this before, where I think Derek Carr's contract is team friendly, right? It is team friendly because it gives the team the control. The Saints have the decision to make in year 3 and year 4. If the Saints are really, really good, if they're really, really good and Derek Carr is dominant and the Saints are dominant and the Saints win multiple playoff games and they're threatening to win the NFC title or threatening to go to the NFC title game, then all of a sudden it's like, damn, all we got to do to bring our quarterback back is pay him like $40 million. $40 million a year for a quarterback that with a dominant team, not that bad, right? Then you get, and that's if you don't even restructure. Then you're always going to have, because you got to remember too, a lot of Carr's guaranteed money is at the beginning of his contract. So I believe it's like a $10 or $15 million hit as far as like what we'd have to pay him or whatever, guaranteed wise, if we cut him after the June 1st deadline both years. And that's if we don't restructure. Then if we're good again, going into his 4th year, it's $50 million a year, you probably restructure. I don't think you pay him 1 year $50 million. That'd be crazy. And I don't think he would play for that anyways. I don't think Carr would say, yeah, I'll play 1 year $50 million with like $10 million of it guaranteed. Why would he do that? He would want to restructure as well. So, but that's why it's so beautiful, the situation. There isn't pressure on anybody. There isn't pressure on the team to pay Carr. There isn't pressure on Carr to demand more money or beat out Spencer Rattler or beat out Jake Haener. There isn't pressure on Haener or Rattler to beat out Carr. Everything can just chill. If we are good and Carr is good and the Saints are good and all that works out, we're in a perfect situation to let Carr play out some of his contract, let Rattler and Haener develop. There's no rush there. You know, it's not a Michael Penix situation where like he has to play. So that is a great problem for us to have. If it does happen, that would be a fantastic, fantastic problem to have. Is if Carr and the team is so good and they're growing so fast that we have to look at paying them $40 million in year 3. Because again, $40 million for your quarterback of a dominant team that's winning playoff games, $40 million is not that crazy. 50 and above, that's when you start to kind of wonder what's going on. And like I said, there's no way you're going to pay Derek Carr 1 year $50 million with like 10 guaranteed. He's not going to do that. All right, last question, and then we'll get to chat, and then we're probably going to watch this video to end the stream. CJ, 1:30. Damn, this is a thesis. Come on, speak pipe. Speak pipe. Don't do this to me. Speak pipe. Speak pipe. My guys.
Hey, James. This is CJ here. Let's get down to business, man.
All right, let's go.
I think one of these 4 players are going to be primed to have a career year.
Okay.
Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, or Chase Young. Here's why.
Okay, I think I think Kamara could for sure. I mean, Chase Young could, I guess. That would be like 10 sacks. I think Carr could, but I don't think Carr's going to have to, but I think he could. Someone real quick look up what Derek Carr's best year was. Just stats. Look up like passing yards, touchdown, interceptions. What was his best year? It was the year he got MVP votes.
So as far as Derek Carr goes, if quarterbacks like Tua, Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, etc., have shown that they thrive in these Shanahan-style offenses, there's no reason for me to believe that he cannot have a career year like he did in 2021 and get MVP votes for us. Chris,
see, I don't know. Like that, I don't know because 4,800 yards in 2021. Yeah, like if he throws for 5,000 yards, it's hard to imagine he's going to throw for 5,000 yards. Why would he be throwing so much? You know, like I just don't think we're going to be that kind of team. I think we're going to be a very run-oriented team. I think Carr will be good in the system, but like that, and that's kind of the danger of like a career year is like, what exactly does that mean? You literally think he's going to have his best statistical season? Because then all of a sudden it's like asking him to throw 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns seems pretty wild.
Olave, Clint Kubiak, Gary Kubiak's son. The Kubiak system typically feeds number one receivers heavily. I think Chris Olave is being primed to get a lot of targets this year, which can result into, maybe 1,500 yards, and he emerges as a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Alvin Kamara, you talk about that. I don't need to speak about that. Chase Young, man, I think he can get double-digit sacks, man.
I agree on Chase Young, for sure. If Chase Young's healthy, I think having Dennis Allen in his ear, Dennis Allen developing him, I think Chase Young could have a career year.
This system, where the coverage is going to be locking everything down, he has time, he has the speed. All he has to do is just stay healthy, and I think this guy's a lock for 11, 12 plus sacks.
Yeah, I think Chase Young. Let me pull this up. Let me see if I'm right about this. 28 and 6. He threw over 4,800 yards and 23 touchdowns. That was it. That's a wild stat line. All right. Okay.
Auto insurance all seems the same.
28 and 6 is good.
It's time to use it with you.
Okay, so this is Chase Young's highlights. So this is what, and I obviously just pulled up a random highlight video. When I watched Chase Young in college, my biggest issue with him was that, and I've said this before, he would go past the quarterback a lot. He would pressure beyond the quarterback, and then a lot of his sacks came from behind. Pause. You can't do that in the NFL because quarterbacks get rid of the ball too quick. In college, quarterbacks hold on to the ball, number one, but they also try and escape the pocket out of the back of the pocket. In the pros, quarterbacks climb the pocket. Quarterbacks go up in the pocket. They don't try and escape from the back. No one does that. So let's see if some of these are like that so I can kind of show what I'm talking about. Okay, exactly. All right, so this one, the quarterback's trying to escape out of the back of the pocket. Exactly what I was saying. Chase Young, sack from behind. Okay, doesn't happen in the NFL. I'm just going to keep letting this roll and see if we can catch a few more of these. All right, this is the same play, but I'm going to skip. Okay, what was this? There's a screen. All right, let's see if this is a sack. So there's a good play there. Great play there. Good stuff. Okay, another. All right, let's look at this one. All right, that one, the quarterback actually did go up, but you can see Young is pressuring beyond the quarterback. See how he pressures beyond the quarterback, sacks from behind? Let's see if this is the same situation. That one's more of like a tried and true sack. That's Ritter? Yeah, the Cincinnati quarterback? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this is kind of That's a different play. But you see what I'm saying, guys? Like that. Oh, that's a good one. This is a great one. Okay, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Great one. Great one. Okay, watch this quarterback. Watch Young. Young's on the top. Watch where Young goes. He's way beyond the quarterback. He's 2 yards. He's circling 2 yards beyond the quarterback. His pressure is beyond the quarterback. Now he has to come back up to make the sack. The quarterback, look how long he holds this ball. Like think about a pro holding the ball this long. He is back there for a while, right? So Chase Young did this a lot in college, piled up some big numbers. I think he has gotten better in the pros, but I do not want to see this. Well, I want to see that. But like if you ever see Chase Young in with the Saints, if you see him pressuring beyond the quarterback, then you know we're in some trouble. You know things aren't good. Okay? But to go back to CJ's question, I think Olave, there's going to be a lot of weapons. Will Olave get the usage? Maybe. I think Olave, this is a make or break season. Because if Olave has a huge year, talking like career year, talking like 1,400 yards, talking like, 1,300 yards, somewhere in there, a lot of touchdowns, all of a sudden I can catapult him to being like a true number one. If Olave has the same year he had last year, there's going to be a whole lot of, maybe this guy isn't a number one. Maybe this guy's more of a number two. Maybe we need to find the number one. Chase Young is pretty solid. Just got to stay healthy. Yeah, I agree with that. But Kamara, I've gone over this a million times. I think Kamara is primed to have a great season. I may be a little high on Kamara, but I think he's just the perfect fit for this offense. He's the perfect fit for the system. He's absolutely perfect for what Clint Kubiak wants to do. So he's going there. What Clint Kubiak is going to ask of Alvin Kamara is exactly what Alvin Kamara does and exactly what Alvin Kamara wants to be asked to do. So it's not going to be running up the middle. It's not going to be running in between the tackles. It's going to be wide zone run, which should get him nice and open. It's going to be a lot of dumps, a lot of him getting the ball as a receiver, a lot of him running routes, which is exactly where he was the most dangerous with Sean Payton. So I agree. I think those four guys, Carr, Olave, Kamara, and Young, all are primed for a breakout season. They're all primed for the system. Each of their situations is what makes it so good. Chase Young, his situation, he's healthy. He's playing with Dennis Allen, arguably the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. He's playing across from good defensive ends, whether it's Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson, whoever ends up being across from him. He has a good defensive line, a good defensive system that he should be able to thrive in. Kamara, just explained it. Chris Olave obviously is number one in a big-time system. This should certainly benefit him. It's just, is he a true number one? Chase is going to chase and get us some W's this year. I hope so. Okay, let's see. I saw a question from Bush, and it was, walk us through a typical day. I'll walk you through a typical day of like creating content. So usually during like big time filming days, I have to stay ahead of the schedule. I have to stay ahead of releasing videos because that's how I'm so efficient. That's how I can keep a video every day. If I get busy or if life happens or whatever, I can't get home, do a video, publish it, do all that exactly the same time every day. So I usually stay a day at least ahead. And then, how I do that is like on a let's say a filming day, I'll do like 5 or 6 videos. And I'll film them, I'll edit them, I'll do the thumbnails for them, I'll schedule them, I'll have the SEO done, all that stuff. And that usually takes a while. That's like a long, like 10-hour session. That's like the long filming day. And that's how we stay so efficient. That's how we stay so ahead of the game. And then obviously throughout the week, if something pops up, if a topical thing happens, we'll react to it on the spot. So we mix and match between like basically doing a video on that day and having something scheduled. And then every day I'm working out, I'm eating, I'm doing all that good stuff. Okay. Good questions, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for all those questions. That was a lot. And that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was 9 of them. That was really nice. I think realistically, Olave goes for 1350 and 6 touchdowns. I think if he has 1350, he'd be closer to 10 touchdowns. You got to create a Discord channel. I think it'll make interactions and updates for efficient. Okay. I don't really use Discord a lot. I use it like when I'm gaming or whatever, but I don't really use Discord a lot as far as I use Reddit more for like community-based stuff, which is why we have our subreddit. But yeah, I'll look into Discord. I'd have to do a little research because I'm not a Discord expert, but you know. All right. Man, so many ads today. We could do a Discord. Yeah, I'll leave that up to Crafty and Bucks. They're kind of my experts with that kind of stuff. What made you come back to YouTube? Whew, good question. Man, I didn't expect this. Great question. Damn. All right, I'll answer this. Okay. How am I gonna? All right. Let me give a quick context. So money? No, I wasn't making any money. So I did YouTube and Twitch. I did YouTube and streamed on Twitch for a long time. YouTube, I started in like 2013, something like that. And then Twitch, I started in like probably like 2017, somewhere in there. From 2017-ish to 2020-ish, I was doing like all kind of different content. Then COVID hit and I had to find a job. All right, I got laid off during COVID. And I thought it was going to be like for like 6 months. I thought it was going to be for like 2 months. Not even 6 months. I thought it was going to be like 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. So I was just like streaming. I was just kind of doing YouTube videos, but I was making $0. $0 streaming, $0 on YouTube. I was actually making like about $100 on Twitch at that time. Crafty and Bucks were there. They know all about this. After about 6 months of that, I was like, oh no, I got to find a job. Like this ain't no joke now. This pandemic is real deal Holyfield. I had a mortgage. I had a car. Like I had all that stuff, and I was making nothing. Okay, I was making $100 from Twitch a month. All right, with $0 coming in. I had like I said, a mortgage, a car payment, bills, credit, all that stuff. 6, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months go by, 10 months go by, 10 months unemployed, on welfare or whatever at the time, whatever it was, getting like some welfare money, $100 a Twitch, and I was applying to like 100 jobs a day. I was grinding, middle of a pandemic, nothing open, no one hiring, nothing happening. And I'm thinking this ain't good. I'm about to have to sell it all. So end up getting a job, move to a new city, New Orleans. Move to a new city, get an apartment, get all my stuff straight. I'm learning a new city. I'm moving into an apartment. I'm doing all that stuff. Doing all that, trying to get situated with a new job. I'm so focused because I'm like, man, I do not, I've been basically or literally unemployed for almost a year. I'm happy to have a job. I got to get all my stuff straight. So when all that was happening, I took a step back from YouTube and Twitch. I couldn't do it. I couldn't focus on everything at the same time. I didn't have my equipment. I hadn't brought it over to New Orleans. I was in like a really small apartment. I didn't have room for it. I didn't know what I was doing. So at that time, I was like, you know what? It was a good run. At that time, I was like, it was a good run. I had like maybe 600 subscribers on YouTube. I was doing pretty well on Twitch towards the end there. But I was like, I'm just going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on what's going on. It'll be cool. So that was like a whole year, year and a half, somewhere in there. I didn't make a single piece of content. Longest time since probably 2012 that I didn't do nothing. Not a podcast, not a Twitch stream, not a YouTube video, nothing. And the NFL season was starting. And I was like, maybe I'll rank the quarterbacks. This is like 2 NFL seasons ago. It's like, maybe I'll rank the quarterbacks. And I did that video, and that kicked off this whole new chapter. This whole new chapter. And ever since that video, I've been rocking and rolling, and everything just blew up. And we're back and better than ever. It's just crazy how it works out. Let me catch up here. You are a handsome man. These other Saints podcasters are hard to watch. That might be the comment of the week. The grind was real. Yeah, it was crazy. The grind has been absolutely insane. Like the grind is really real. I'll tell you that. The grind is really, really real. It is insane. I have set an alarm after Saints games, because I go to the Saints games, so I can't make the reaction videos the day of. But I set the alarm for 4 a.m. the next day to wake up and do the video, have it done. Great story, my man. The story is nuts. Like the whole thing. That was like real quick, but there's so many different chapters to it. It's so long now. I mean, I did FIFA YouTube, just FIFA YouTube. That's it. That is it. Straight up FIFA, nothing else. For 2 straight years, I did daily FIFA YouTube videos. That was that's when I started on YouTube. It seems like so long ago, but 2 years straight, every single day, daily videos while I was a reporter That's how I learned how to edit. That's how I learned how to do all that. We're locked in, James. We feel you. Hey. If you could be roommates with any player, who would it be and why? Probably Derek Carr. Me and Carr like a lot of the same stuff. Me and Carr like a lot. Carr's a big Fortnite guy. Carr loves playing golf. All that stuff. The grind is nothing to play with, but I'm glad you got out of the dumps. Hey, it was tough. I mean, I'll tell you this. I don't know why, but like that I can really see how in that situation people can go like, you know, they can just say, you know what, screw it. I'm watching Netflix all day, every day. I'm drinking all day, every day. I'm giving up, you know. But luckily, I had a good community at the time, or I still do have a good community. But at that time, I had a great community with Bucks and Crafty and all the guys. And even though it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, sometimes 20 people watching a Twitch stream, like that alone gave me the drive to just like not give up and push through the pandemic and unemployment and all that stuff, and then which led to whatever else. So it's always good to have a passion. It's always good to, but that's also like, I did not expect to be talking about this, but that's also why people quit. Like people that do stuff but don't have a passion for it, that's why they quit. Because they get put in a horrible ass situation, or they're tired, or they're exhausted, or they're whatever, or they want to go hang out with their friends, or they want to go to the pool, or they want to go to the beach, and they say, I'm not doing a podcast today. I'm not doing a video today. And then the next day comes, they're like, I'm hungover today. I'm not doing a podcast. I'm not doing a video. You know, meanwhile, I've done 6 videos in that time. You know, so like this game, creating, whether it's writing or painting or music or producing or videos or whatever it is, like you have to have a real deal passion for it. And that's really for anything in life. Whatever your job is, like jobs are job. No doubt about that. Jobs are job. Jobs are jobs. We've all had jobs where we're just punching the clock. But if you really want to be good at the job or whatever it is, you got to love it. You got to have a legit passion. Legit passion. 100%. Man, you have over 30 people. It's an off-season snooze fest. You're going to have thousands of people. Oh, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we had about 500 people on the stream during the draft. We had about 150 during the live streams that we were doing before July 4th. This was an impromptu. This is on me. Had the 2 weeks off with July 4th, was out of town, and then I didn't tell anyone I was doing live tonight. We just jumped in. So this is impromptu. These are good questions, man. We can just rock and roll with these questions if y'all want. But yeah, I think during the season, I think we will have a lot, especially during road games when we're live streaming during the games. I think we could have a lot. James has that Mamba mentality. It's something. I always there was this picture of Kanye West, and whatever you think about Kanye, but I always thought about this picture of Kanye where it was him and he was in this like shitty apartment, and it's a picture taken like he's at the producer table or the computer or whatever, and it's taken like in the room, and he's sitting at his desk, and it's just this dingy apartment, and it's this just nothing going on, and he's just in the lab, and I think he said it was something like it wasn't like 8 or 9 years from that picture taken to where he actually got like a beat or whatever sold. And it's like, that's it. Like if you're not willing to grind in that setting for 8, 9, 10 years without making $1 or anyone watching the videos, I guarantee you, my first 8 years of YouTube, I guarantee you I didn't have a single video go over 10 views. Guarantee you. 8 years. 100%. I would bet anything. For 8 straight years, I was making content that got 10 or less views every single video, and I was doing it every single day. 100%. Kanye is very inspiring. He is. Yeah. Since we were going down memory lane, favorite OG memory of content? Man. I thought the Twitch streams was probably the best. Like, that was rocking and rolling. Like, those were like the FIFA streams, the early OG Fortnite streams, the early Fall Guys streams with me, you, and Bucks. Like, those are my favorite blocks of content for the OG. I like Twitch way more than the early YouTube. 100%. I thought the Twitch period was where I really kind of took that next step as a content creator. I mean, I was talking for like 7 straight hours. It made me so much better at this. I was a Bengal fan when I first started watching NFL because I liked their jerseys, but Drew Brees and being from Mississippi, I felt drawn in. Also, the passion is so true because working is rough. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. 100%. We got some Bengals fans in here. I was a Lacey, so I'm obviously from Mississippi. I started off, like, Brett Favre was obviously a huge deal. So a majority of people like my age were Packers fans. And then after Favre, they became Saints fans. But like, Favre was number one. I was rooting for Brett Favre. I talked about that in my You Don't Know Ball interview. I was rooting for Favre in the NFC title game because it was Brett Favre. And he was like a hero, in Mississippi. Why did you decide to focus on the Saints? I lived in New Orleans. I go to all the games, and it was just, the NFL is just like what I think I give the most value to. I just know the best. And then watching all the Saints games, like being able to really speak to what was going on there, made it just was the perfect thing. Fortnite was different, man. Times changed, no doubt. What do you think made your channel excel to where it is now? A certain video? I don't think it was a certain video. My most watched videos ever were all from when I first started. I had 2 videos like back to back, get like 50,000 views, but I got like no followers off of it. It was like right when I began. But I think the channel has excelled because I think we do offer value. I think we do offer I think we do have knowledge. Like, I think we do have knowledge. I think we do a good job with what we're talking about and breaking down the games and breaking down the Saints and whatnot. So, I think I don't, no hate, but I do think sports media in New Orleans is lacking. I don't think it's caught up to the times, and like, not to sound, whatever, but I think I am the times. Like, I think that's what the New Orleans sports media needed. I think we're filling a hole. I think we're filling a gap. And, if you turn on WWL, it's a snooze fest. Turn on here, it ain't a snooze fest. You know what I mean? So we're kind of pushing the, like, New Orleans sports media. You in New Orleans, that football is new. Yeah, exactly. I think me, yes, I think what we're doing here, I think what Nick is doing over there, I would say we're kind of pushing the New Orleans sports media. My prediction is, y'all got me really talking now. My prediction is by the end of this season, we will be like, there will be a serious separation between like what New Orleans football is doing, what I'm doing, and then like what the rest of New Orleans like sports media is doing. 100%. We party up in here, no doubt. Oh wait, what was it? Hey James, what's your favorite thing about the Saints, New Orleans, or just Louisiana as a whole? The culture, the people, the music. I like it all, man. I like it all. I like the food, I like the music. I love the culture. 100%. 100%. I love the whole thing. I love living in New Orleans. Love living in the French Quarter. Sometimes it can be a lot, but love going anywhere and hearing jazz music and all that stuff. So, Pammy, how's it going? Hey James, didn't get my notification. YouTube trying to silence me. Unbelievable. You could do a Pelicans franchise on 2K. Good idea. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen. I know it's 8 o'clock. Where all of you, I lived, just Mississippi and Louisiana. The only places I've lived. I'd love to see you on New Orleans Football Talking Saints with Nick and the guys. I think I would not be surprised at all if a collab happens soon. But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously open to a collab. I think they'd be open to it. So yeah, nothing's in the works, but I think it's definitely possible something like that happens. All right, I know it's 8 o'clock, and I know we were going to end at 8, but I'm fired up. I'm feeling good. Y'all got me feeling good. We're rocking and rolling. So we're going to do a video. We're going to do a reaction video, and then we're going to call the stream because y'all have been incredible tonight. This has been so much fun. And so we're going to do this. Jesus, Ross, don't look at me like that. That's tough, LOL. The willpower is insane to keep going despite all of that. The grind does pay off for sure. Also, Saints content doesn't bring a lot of views for some reason. It does all right. Another example of the grind, last one. Just to flex. At one point, I was living and working an hour away from each other. Okay. So I had to commute an hour every day. This is nuts. So I was commuting to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where the University of Southern Mississippi is. So up there, a friend of my family had an apartment that they were trying to sell. Okay. Empty apartment. Every morning at 5 a.m., I would pack up my car to drive to work. I would pack up my computer, everything. I'd pack up my mouse, my keyboard, my computer, my screens, my microphone, everything. I'd put it in the trunk. I'd drive an hour to work. At lunch, I would take my lunch break, go to that abandoned apartment they were trying to sell. Empty-ass apartment. I would set up all my stuff. I would set up my desk. I set up my computers. I set up my TV screen. I set up my microphone. I set up my everything. And I'd do a video. Boom, at lunch. That way, I'd have a video done. Because I knew when I drove back, I sure as hell wasn't going to be able to do a video that night. It was an hour commute. And then I'd unpack all my shit when I got back. Unpack it back all up in my house. Do whatever. Go to sleep. Next day, same thing. Wake up. Unplug everything. Load up screens, load up the computer, load up the mice, load up the keyboard, drive an hour to work every day. Did that for over a year. That's the job I got fired from in the pandemic. So I did that for a little bit, like a year, a little over a year until the pandemic. Got fired. Boom. There you go. All right. Here we go. I never knew that. That shit was real. And those videos probably got 50 views. That's the damn grind. Did that every single day for a year for 40 views and a couple of dislikes and a couple of people in the comments telling me to kill myself. That's what it's all about, baby. That's what it's all about. If you ain't doing that, easy. For 50 views, 50 views, I would have been the happiest guy in the world for 50 views back then. 100%. Yeah. It was wild. Every single day. Pack that thing up in the trunk. Nuts. All right, let's do it. Will Derek Carr be a top 12 quarterback in 2024? The tight end rotation with Taysom Hill. New Orleans Saints news. This is Off the Bench with T-Bob, Jacob Hester, and Ross Jackson. Ross, back up, my man. Ross, 2 steps, 3 steps. Get on back. Let's go.
So I said that I would castrate myself live on air
Jesus
if Derek Carr
Christ,
doesn't finish
T-ball.
as a top 12 quarterback
Damn.
in the NFL.
Okay,
It's
all right.
obviously the riskiest bet
very risky.
that I've ever made. That said, I do like when I look at this Saints team, it all comes down to the offensive line. There's a world where maybe
Kinda. The offensive line has to have a threshold, okay? They cannot be 32nd. They cannot be the worst offensive line in the NFL. They can be the 21st offensive line in the NFL. They can be the 23rd offensive line in the NFL, okay? They do it doesn't all, and people are going to be mad that I say this, it doesn't all come down to the offensive line. It's part of it, but it's way more about, can we run the football? Is the wide zone run scheme work? Is the system work? Does Kubiak work? Does Carr work? I know offensive line is part of all that, but I'm way more concerned about the system, the structure of the system. Does it work? I'm way more concerned about that than I'm concerned about like individual offensive line play.
this line is good and everything looks good because you can be good for years, right? I mean, there's a ton of investment. It's all first and second round picks, save for Saldivari. However, it was a PFF the other day comes out with their list ranking all O-lines, and the New Orleans Saints are dead last, 32 of 32.
I think it has to be dead last, by the way. I think if you're ranking it preseason, it has to be dead last. Why the hell would you rank it high? Who was giving you any confidence to rank it high? Trevor Penning was worse than a mailbox last year. So until they prove it, preseason I'd have them ranked last too.
So it goes beyond Derek Carr. Is it too simple to say that this New Orleans Saints team goes as the O-line goes?
Yes.
So that's
No,
100%.
not at all.
Yes,
I don't think that's too simple at all. I think that's
is.
absolutely the case.
That's not how it works for any team in the NFL. It's not 1997. All right. Houston Texans, bottom 5 offensive line last year. San Francisco 49ers, middle of the road, 20-ish, 21st, somewhere in there, offensive line. It's not how it is. Okay. There's way more to the NFL today than is your offensive line good? Ladies and gentlemen, I've done this before. Number 4 offensive line in the NFL last year. Anyone want to guess? Indianapolis Colts. Number 5 offensive line in the NFL last year. Atlanta Falcons. What do both of those teams have in common? They didn't go to the playoffs. They didn't win nothing. Okay? Ask them about how an offensive line worked. Again, Houston Texans, bottom 5 offensive line. Different era. You cannot have the worst offensive line in the NFL. You cannot have people destroying your quarterback and destroying your line of scrimmage play and all of that. You cannot have that. But you do not need the best offensive line to be a good team. Good offensive line does not correlate to good team. Bad offensive line does not correlate to bad team.
It's interesting walking into a season and looking at a football team and going, man, the 2 biggest question marks feel like the offensive line and the defensive line. That's not typically where NFL teams want to be. But to the Saints,
I don't think our defensive line is that big of a question. I mean, it's a question as far as like who's going to contribute where. But I would say our defensive line is pretty strong as far as like who, our power players and what they're going to do. Can they stop the run? Is our rush defense strong? We'll see. But just as a whole, the defensive line's okay.
to the credit of that conversation, the reason why the offensive line is a question mark is because they're relying on young players to push their improvement.
Yeah.
And that's just tough to project. That's
Well, you're also relying on 3 of the 5 offensive linemen. You have absolutely no idea what you're going to get. You have absolutely no idea what you're going to get out of Saldivari at left guard. You have absolutely no idea what you're going to get out of Trevor Penning at right tackle. You have absolutely no idea what you're going to get out of Talise Fuaga at left tackle. So 3 of the 5 are literal question marks. 3 of the 5, you don't have a clue. You don't even have a benchmark to know how they're going to perform. The only benchmark you have of those 3 is Trevor Penning last year, which is horrific. Okay, which is so damn bad. All right. So that's why it's a question mark, and that's why you do have to go into the season saying, yeah, it might be the worst. It might be the worst offensive line. But because of the question marks, you don't know. If those 3 are average to above average, bringing up the offensive line, okay. probably the 20th ranked offensive line. I'll take that. You can win with that.
That's all that really is. It's just challenging to project. Like you said, there's a world in which this offensive line is fantastic, but we have to see players we haven't seen perform in the NFL, either because they're rookies or second-year guys, or Trevor Penning's moving from one side of the line to the other. I do think that it's not too simple. In fact, it's simple enough to say that, yes, this offense goes by the way of its offensive line, not only because of the protection for Derek Carr, but this wide zone offense also wants to be able to predicate what it does by running the football. So they have to be able to produce in that area too. So I think you're right there. I don't think that it's too simple to say that. I think it's just simple enough.
What about the tight end position? A position where you have an injury to Juwan Johnson. Obviously, Foster Moreau is going to be there as well. Taysom Hill kind of looks like he's maybe going to be in the backfield as much as he is at tight end. Like, where are you at right now? You brought in a very talented undrafted free agent rookie. He led the tight ends across the country in college football last year in yards. Like, where are you at right now with that position group?
Yeah.
Questionable. The good thing about this system is that it's not going to rely on a tried and true old school tight end. Line up, be a tight end. They're going to move pieces around. Your tight end could be Taysom, could be Foster, could be Hooker, could be anybody. Hooker, I just met her. Could be anyone. All right, so we're going to move pieces around. That is what I love so much about this offense, is that it's going to be mismatches. It's going to be on a per play basis. It's going to be all of that. So if Foster Moreau isn't great offensively as far as like catching the ball and like being a threat downfield, but Hooker is, then we're going to have him in when it's time that we need that. The flexibility of this offense, this scheme, is what I think is the best part of it and what we need the most because of our roster.
I should say too, real quick for T-Bob, just to kind of like bring your anxiety down. I think you're going to be fine. I think you're going to be fine when it comes to Derek Carr, top 12.
Thank you.
I think you're going to be okay.
About.
You should put a caveat. You should caveat injury just to protect yourself.
I did. I did an injury caveat.
Okay, good.
Good. So
good.
If he misses, I think it's like more than 4 or 5 games, and it doesn't count. But
good.
Yeah,
good.
Here's to hoping, man. I'd really rather not cut my nuts off for like a 7-10 Saints team. But hey, you got to take big swings.
Yep, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the
fun fact, I did a bet not like this, but I did a bet one time where I said, this is probably like 2013, 2014, but I said the NBA season started, and I said I will not eat solid food. I will go on a liquid diet, a liquid fast, until the Pelicans win a game. All right, season started, like NBA season started. I said I will not eat solid food until the Pels get a W. They started the season like 0-13. I was eating broth, Jell-O, pudding, yogurt. I was eating soup. I was eating grits, oatmeal for like 2.5 weeks. It was seriously like 0-13 or 0-14. It was crazy. It was probably like 2014, 2015, somewhere in there, maybe 2013, somewhere in there. They started off like somewhere between 0-11 and 0-13. It was a long enough losing streak where I was seriously thinking like, am I going to die? Like, am I going to die doing this stupid bet? Like, do I need to just give up on this and eat solid food? So I know where T-Bob was coming from. My bet wasn't as extreme as his, but still.
The tight ends, not to shift to the other body part here, but as we look at tight ends, I think that the thing that I look at with this is that it's a bit of a frustrating group right now, and I think that the frustration comes from the high expectations and then kind of the derailment of bridging the gap from 2023 to 2024. And I think Juwan Johnson is probably very frustrated having to deal with this injury himself. He had 3 of his 4
grits are good. Yeah, grits are good. Grits are not good 3 times a day for 2 weeks.
Touchdowns last year, more than 200 of his more than 300 receiving yards last year, all came in the last 3 of,
Yeah, Juwan Johnson was so good against Tampa Bay at the end of the year, and then he wasn't good at any other part of the year. So,
last 4 games of the season last year. And so you're hoping that he's going to be able to bridge the gap with that momentum that he started to pick up at the end of 2023 and then go into 2024. Now you have this injury. So you're hoping is that the injury isn't enough of a hiccup that it causes, kind of a drop off in that momentum. So that's going to be pretty big for him. Again, the expectation for him as well is that he'll be ready to go at the beginning of the season. We'll see where things go there. I don't have any big updates when it comes to Juwan Johnson at this moment, but the rest of that tight end group, obviously, obviously has a lot of talent. Foster Moreau looks bigger, bulkier. He looks like
it's never wrong to be strong, ladies and gentlemen. Bigger and bulkier, the better. Zercher squats, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 calories a day, multiple sweet potatoes, multiple yams, chicken thighs, chicken breast. That's what life's all about. It ain't never wrong to be strong. So Foster Moreau, get to GNC, get Jake Hayner's Premium Plus card, his VIP card, get you some tests, get involved.
He's ready to go for this season. Dallin Holker's really interesting and can move around all over the place.
Beautiful
and I think
hair.
Taysom Hill contributes to that position group. They've got a phenomenal tight end coach.
This is a good example, okay? Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, Dallin Hooker, Taysom Hill. If you told me none of them really stand out, but they all have 300 yards receiving, cool. I'll take that combined 1,200 yards receiving from my tight end group. That's what it's all about. Like, that's what the new NFL is doing, where I don't need my number one tight end to have 90% of the catches. I don't need my number one wide receiver to have 90% of my catches. That's not how it is, right? Like, I don't care if it's a mix of whoever. I don't care if we're playing the per play, the mismatches, and that means 5 different people play tight end and get receptions there, and that equals out to being something successful. I'm totally fine with that.
Clancy Barone there as well, who's coached multiple Hall of Famers throughout his time. So I think that you have everything that you want in that room. The biggest thing is, can it stay healthy? And especially in this wide zone offense, you're going to see a lot of those 2 wide receiver sets, which means a lot of those 2 tight end sets as well. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those tight ends on the field. Got to be able to block, got to be able to move, got to be able to run routes, got to be able to catch the football in those cases. And a lot of those guys check those boxes, including undrafted free agent Dallin Holker, who I'm super excited to see a little bit more of in training camp.
Ross Jackson at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter.
There you go.
Host of the Locked On Saints podcast, does a ton of great work across all Locked On networks. A huge thank you. As you can see, Ross knows everything top to bottom when it comes to New Orleans Saints. You should listen to the pod. Ross, thank you. Thank you so much for making some time for us, for coming on the show today.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks so much for having me. Y'all take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.
Wow.
All right, let's talk about the Derek Carr top 12 thing, since they led the video at that. Carr being a top 12 quarterback. Okay, first of all, what does that mean? Does that mean Derek Carr top 12 QBR? We all know QBR is a completely made-up stat. It's completely pointless. It was made by ESPN to validate ESPN. It was also a metric that is for casuals to track, to know how good players are doing. QBR means nothing. I don't track it. None of the betting groups that I care about track it. None of the syndicates track it. So QBR is meaningless. Is it top 12 quarterbacks in passing yards per game? Also an empty stat. No one cares about passing yards per game. As far as a top 12 quarterback, like if we looked at Madden analytics or expected, value over average or anything like that, Carr can absolutely be a top 12 quarterback. Carr can absolutely be in that conversation. Now that you do have to be pretty good. Like in today's NFL, considering everyone stays healthy, like obviously if Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow get hurt again, changes things, but there are good quarterbacks. We are in a good quarterback world right now. We are in a viable quarterback world of the NFL where every team kind of has their guy. Like if you look at the NFC West, you're talking about Brock Purdy, who was getting MVP votes last year, Geno Smith, Matt Stafford, and Kyler Murray. Pretty strong. Like all those guys, pretty strong. You look at the AFC North. All right, you go with the Russell Wilson, we'll say he beats out Justin Fields. Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, pretty strong. Okay. You go to the AFC South. CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Will Levis, whatever you think about him. I'm not going to say Levis is good or bad just yet. I lean towards bad. And then Anthony Richardson, total unknown. Still, weak division for above average quarterbacks. We're not in a situation right now where it's like horrible quarterbacks. There are bad quarterbacks. I'm not saying that, but there are more than 12 good quarterbacks in the NFL. So to crack that top 12, which I think Carr can do, but to crack that top 12, he's going to have one hell of a season. If Carr finishes the year the 15th ranked quarterback in whatever metric it ends up being, I guarantee you the 15th ranked quarterback is still going to be pretty good. is still going to be solid. I mean, it is one of the deepest quarterback leagues I can remember. It's way up there. Way up there. Because I was doing the same thing. So I did my quarterback ranking, and Carr, for me, landed, I think, 16. He was in the tier from 14 to 20, maybe somewhere in there. He was in the same tier with like Geno, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins. And I was going into that ranking thinking Carr will definitely be in my top 12. And then by the time we did it all, I was like, well, damn, like, I don't know. That like 12 quarterbacks is a lot. Let's just take a look at it right now. Let's just look at just NFL quarterbacks just in general, just so we can look at some names here. Let's just take a look. Yeah, we'll do it this way. All right, so if we look at it like this, like, all right, Patrick Mahomes, elite level, high A+ tier. Lamar Jackson, elite level, A+ tier. Joe Burrow, same. Josh Allen, same. Justin Herbert, not the same level, but still good. Prescott, not the same level, but still good. Stafford, still good. Rodgers, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is the 8th best quarterback on this list. Jalen Hurts, 2 years ago, was the MVP. CJ Stroud, last year, a lot of people thought he could be the MVP. Jordan Love, 11. Trevor Lawrence, I'm down on Trevor Lawrence. Brock Purdy, last year, getting MVP votes. Tua, 14. Tua, last year, getting MVP votes. Jared Goff, I know a lot of people right now saying Jared Goff will be the MVP this year. Jared Goff, NFC champion or NFC championship game level team quarterback, has had great years. Like we're now at 18, and we're at Geno Smith. Baker Mayfield, coming off a career year, 20th. I mean, these quarterbacks, even like 24, Anthony Richardson, we don't know yet, but he looked good at times last year. It's really not until Trevor Lawrence is a scam artist, I agree with that. It's really not until the Sam Darnold, Aiden O'Connell, Daniel Jones, it's really not until that group where it's like, these are bad players. The top 20 are legitimate, bona fide, starting level quarterbacks in the NFL. Jared Goff being 16 is wild. Geno Smith being 18 is wild. That is deep. That is some depth at quarterback. When Baker Mayfield is 20th, right? It is crazy. So to say top 12 is a lot. Trevor Lawrence is not it. I agree. Look, I've been preaching. I think Trevor Lawrence is average as it gets. I guarantee you that. But like, this is the group that Carr is going to have to beat out. If Carr wants to be top 12, he is going to have to beat out the group of Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, Tua, Kirk Cousins. I think Goff is way better than 16. So I'm not going to count Goff. I think Goff's top 10. He will have to beat Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Tua, Purdy, Lawrence, Love, Mayfield. That's who he'll have to beat. That's some serious competition. 100%. So I think he can be top 12, but I don't think the Saints need him to be top 12. The Saints need him to be top 18-ish. If Carr is top 18-ish, I think the Saints will be fine. I think they can absolutely win with him being somewhere in this group right here. Again, I think Goff is way better, but I think, if you told me that he's right here, if he's right around Geno, right around Caleb Williams, right around Baker Mayfield, you can win with that. You hear about guys losing a step in the late 20s. Are they doing any tests yearly as far as how fast they can run, how much they can bench, squat? I feel like they just say that. I agree. I think they do just say that. You look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady was such a better athlete at 42 than he was at 23. So I think they say that. I don't put much into that. I can just speak for myself. 24 compared to 34? 34 is way better. 100%. This is a deep quarterback league. Yeah, this is a very, very deep league. Russell Wilson is 22. I'm not saying Russell Wilson is good, but damn. Deshaun Watson is getting paid $250 million to be 23. Anthony Richardson looked really good until he got hurt. Bryce Young, garbage. I would take Jaden Daniels over Bryce Young so fast it would make your head spin. Ladies and gentlemen, what a stream. What a time. We talked. We had goofs. We had gaffs. We went down a lot of different rabbit holes, ladies and gentlemen. This was a fun one. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Drop the 7-on-7 highlight reel. Ethan, if I could find my 3-on-3 intramural highlight reel, intramural, Southern Miss, 2008-ish, somewhere in there. We won the intramural 3-on-3 championship. Didn't throw an interception all season long. Lit it up. I probably had like a 58 touchdown, 0 interception season. Called plays at the line. No huddle. High level offense. It was unreal. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much again watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Videos every day for the rest of this week, obviously. Maybe even 2 a day sometimes. Who even knows? Thursday, next week, right here. We'll be streaming. Thank you again, everyone who went and watched the You Don't Know Ball video. I really do appreciate that. The fact that no one else has 50 views on their videos and we have over 1,000 on ours. That is a testament to the community, testament to all of you. And I thank you all very much for that. Thank you for all your viewer voice messages. And I will see you later. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Thursday night. Thank you for hanging out. Like Jay-Z says, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with me.